Now, I don't need to tell you, ladies and gentlemen, what happened in the 80s. It's absolutely fascinating. Goals absolutely work. You got to have them. In 1953, the graduates of Yale University were studied and analyzed. And they asked the questions about goals, and here's what they discovered. They discovered that only 3% of the seniors at Yale University had actually taken the necessary steps as far as setting those goals are concerned. Namely, they had identified what they wanted and had written them down. Now, to go along with that, they had listed the benefits. Now, let me emphasize something very important. The most significant part of setting a goal is to identify the benefits. You know, a lot of times an individual might have a goal, and that goal might be, well, I'm going to lose 35 pounds. And then you know what they talk about? Oh, I'm going to have to give up this and give up that and give up the other. I'm going to have to quit this and quit that. I'm going to have to surrender, sacrifice. And you can almost see them go through the halo adjusting process. Poor little me. They have a series of pity parties when they start setting their goals. They think of the price they've got to pay instead of the benefits which are coming their way. Now, for salespeople and marketing people, let me give you a fact of life. If all you talked about was price when you're trying to make a sale, I can guarantee you your sales would have a dramatic decline. What we emphasize are the benefits. The most important step in the goal-setting program is to identify those benefits. What is in it for me? Then the third thing that these seniors at Yale did, the 3%, they identified the obstacles. James Baldwin was absolutely right when he said, confronting a problem does not always bring a solution. But until you confront the problem, there can be no solution. The reality is something stands between you and your goal. If that were not true, you would already be there. You've got to spell it out. What are the obstacles? That's what the 3% did. And then the fourth step is you've got to identify what you need to know in order to get there. There's some missing information that you got to have. What is it that I need to know in order to get there? And then the fifth thing that they did, they identified the people, the groups, and the organizations they needed to work with in order to get there. If you're going to accomplish anything of any significance, it requires other people working with you. As a simple example, the giant Belgian horse on its own can pull 8,000 pounds. If you hook him up with another giant Belgian horse, together they can pull 18,000 pounds. But if you send them to training school and teach them to pull in harmony, then the team can pull in excess of 25,000 pounds. Working together, teamwork. Who are the groups, the people, the organizations I need to work with? And then obviously the next step has got to be a specific game plan, a plan of action, if you will. Can you imagine two coaches on opposite teams, whether they're coaching soccer or football or whatever, and here they're playing for the world's championship? And the day before the game, they call the team together and say, well, now, you know, we got a pretty tough opponent tomorrow. We better figure out what we are going to do. And, of course, we kind of smile at that and say, that's insane. I agree with you. They organize, they plan, they develop a plan of action for a game. I'm talking to you about a plan for life, a balanced plan, so that you win in every area of life. Now, 3% of these Yale seniors did that, and then they had taken the 7th step, too. They had established the date when they expected to be there. You want to be the chairman of the board. If you want to win at home, if you want to win personally, if you want to win financially, if you want to have all of the winning aspect, it really takes a goals program. Now, interestingly enough, 10% of those graduating seniors from Yale University had taken about 5 of the steps, but the overwhelming majority, outside of knowing they wanted to be a doctor or a professor or an attorney, they really had no solid goals program. 20 years later, they did a study in the 2 areas which they could measure, namely career and financial. And the 3% who had taken all of the steps had literally accomplished more than the other 97% combined. It's been said often, people don't plan to fail, but they do fail to plan. I bet that's not the first time anybody who will ever view this unit has ever heard that. It's old, but let me tell you why it's old. It's old because it's true. If it weren't true, it wouldn't be old, it'd be dead. I mean, it would have long outlived its usefulness. You absolutely must have those goals. Now, for many people in this world of ours, the name Howard Hill will have no significance. He was raised over in Alabama. Howard Hill was an archer. He was a good one. He won 286 consecutive archery tournaments. As a matter of fact, he was never beaten in competition. It finally reached the point where he retired because the best bowmen in the world would not compete because they did not want to compete for second place. He killed a bull elephant with a bow and arrow, a Bengal tiger with a bow and arrow, a Cape buffalo with a bow and arrow. He killed an 18-foot shark under 15 feet of water. Or was it a 15-foot shark under 18 feet of water? It was one. All I know, it was a big one, and he was way down there. When I was a youngster, I've seen newsreels of Howard Hill, where from 50 feet, he would literally